LeBron James and James Harden are two of the most dominating NBA superstars of today. Their mere presence on the court increases the winning chances of their respective squads, and the King and the Beard always know when to take over the game come clutch time. Both players are well accomplished too, having multiple All-Star appearances under their names to being league MVP winners and certified first ballot Hall of Famers. It's without question that LBJ and Harden have carved their place in the Mount Rushmore of great NBA players in this generation. Despite their current dominance though, both of them tend to travel. Quite a bit actually. LBJ and the Beard have been caught red-handed several times. But why do the league officials keep turning a blind eye despite having such concrete evidence? Do LeBron and James Harden get special treatment because of who they are? I mean, sometimes it does seem that way. In this video, we're going to dig a little deeper to see why these two get away with such blatant violations. LeBron James. LeBron James, LBJ, King James, the GOAT, whatever you want to call him. You have to respect his dominance on the court, and even off the court for that matter too, because when he speaks, others listen, including the refs. LeBron's traveling woes are well documented throughout the years, and a hefty amount of them are pretty obvious. So much so that even a kid with no basketball experience whatsoever would know that it was a walk. To get a better grasp on this matter, let's re-examine some of LeBron's dribbling mishaps. One of his most famous uncalled travels happened during the last few seconds of the Cavs-Wizards matchup in the 2006 playoffs. Down by 1 with 18 seconds to go, LBJ wastes away the time as he sizes up Antonio Daniels. With 9 seconds left, he forces his way inside the paint by making a hard jump stop, which LeBron calls a crab dribble, switches his pivot foot before making a tough, contested bucket. A crab dribble is similar to a hot step where you implant both of your feet at the same time. The only difference with the crab dribble is that it allows the player to switch his pivot and take an extra step, which LeBron did in that instance. But according to the NBA rulebook, the crab dribble is not considered to be according to the NBA rulebook, the crab dribble isn't considered to be a legal basketball move, and it's considered to be a travel in any angle you look at it. The refs should have blown the whistle way before LBJ took the shot, but due to the game situation, I guess the refs just let it go, or worse, they didn't see the travel because it happened within just a fraction of a second. Still, LeBron managed to get away with the traveling infraction that he used in the beginning of his career. There's a couple of reasons why the officials failed to call such violations against LBJ. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it could be that the play has unfolded so quickly that the refs just miss it. Remember that officials have to make their decision right there and then, and chances are they might get a missed call from time to time. But as for blatant travels, well, I have no idea what to say about that. This is where fans think players such as LeBron and Harden get special treatment because of who they are. If you don't believe me, take a look at this. In a game against the Utah Jazz, LeBron clearly carries the ball and took 3.5 steps whilst holding it. 3.5 steps. How on earth does one obviously travel and get away with it? There are 3 refs on the court, multiple coaches, and let's not forget thousands of fans watching in the stands and on TV. After the game, he quickly admitted his fault and actually felt bad for the officials. It was the worst thing, probably one of the worst things I've ever done in my career. I think I was ready to pass the ball and my brain I had a malfunction. I really had a malfunction. I feel bad for the refs on that one because they'll probably get a write-up on that or something. Whether they really didn't see it or whether it was an honest human error on their part does make you wonder, doesn't it? James Harden. James Harden, the king of the step back, the travel, and the foul. Now, you might call James Harden an innovator for creating a move that continues to push the boundaries of the NBA rulebook. The Beard broke the internet when he first introduced his double step back move. Now, at first glance, it really looks like an obvious travel, but according to one NBA official, the double step back is actually a legal move. To know how Harden does this, let's break it down even further. As Harden sets up his double step back, he pounds the ball while placing his right hand on the side of the ball and at the same time doing a single step back. This action is still legal because Harden didn't gather the ball just yet and it's still considered a live dribble. After that, Harden does another quick small step back, thus doing the legit 1-2 step, while simultaneously gathering the ball this time around before taking the shot. As a result, Harden creates twice the amount of separation compared to the normal step back by taking advantage of the zero step. According to the NBA rulebook, you can still execute a gather step or the zero step as long as you didn't gather the ball. So basically, you're still on a live dribble motion, and gather only happens when you discontinue dribbling the basketball, which can be done by simultaneously touching the ball using both hands. That's why Harden puts his right hand on the side of the ball and not under the ball, because he'd get called for a carrying violation then. It's really hard to judge whether Harden gathers the ball before taking the second step back in a real-time scenario, since everything seems to happen in one fast motion. Besides that, Harden's been practicing this move to the point of perfection, which makes the officials' job even harder, since they'll be having a hard time distinguishing the legit double step back from the illegal one. On the second day of training camp for the 2019-2020 season, Harden was adamant that his moves were legal. When asked about what he thinks about people calling his step-back jumper a travel, he said, "It shouldn't have been a point, period, at all. The moves I do and I create aren't travels, or the referees who get paid a lot of money and are the best at what they do would call a travel, in which any of the moves that I've done on the perimeter have never been called for a travel. So I don't understand where this whole traveling thing comes from. I don't understand where it comes from. Just because it looks awkward or looks different from what the world's used to. That's called being a creator. That's called changing the game, so live with it. And hopefully your favourite players will start doing that too. I'm tired of hearing that it's a travel from coaches, other players, haters, fans, whatever you want to call it. Embrace it. It's going to be here for a while. It's going to be here forever." With the aid of technology, the league's been trying to raise the standard of game officiating. Unlike before, there are now multiple cameras located all over the court to reduce missed calls, and then there's the review center where referees can have the chance to replay and re-examine a certain violation. It's not LBJ nor Harden's fault whether they can get away with travel most of the time. Some fans are even claiming that both of them received this kind of treatment from the officials primarily because of their superstar status. But ultimately, the responsibility of making the right call lies upon the officials, and they need to prevent something like this from continuously happening in order to preserve the credibility of officiating in the NBA. And as for the king and the beard, if they aren't calling it and it works, then keep doing it. Hope you enjoyed this edition of Hoop Nation. Be sure to watch one of the videos on screen. Let us know in the comment section if you think refs should get fined if they miss such blatant travels.